Shalom, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Makah, HaKodash, double honors to the elders, apostles, a great millstone, do well. Peace, love, and blessings, all right, to the elect, starting with you brothers on the highways and byways, giving all diligence to make your call and election sure, all right, making bodies a living sacrifice, and also blessings, all right, to the body of believers that consist of you men, women, and children, scattered throughout abroad. All right, also looking for and hasten to the coming of our Lord Yahushai. As each day go by, we're getting closer and closer. As we see these prophecies progress and intensify. All right, and I'm just coming at you with another lesson. Like you see here, brothers, this a video that have been basically going amongst brothers, information about attack on U.S. ranchers and food supply. And before I get started, I have to get that precept. This is Luke 19, verse let's see. I'll start at verse 39. All right, and this is Yahushai speaking. All right, it says, "And some of the Pharisees from among the multitude who said to him, Master, rebuke thy disciples. And he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it." All right, Jerusalem. Okay, because why? He knew the prophecies. 70 AD, that Vespasian, Titus, those Roman soldiers will come in and basically siege the city and overthrow them, man. All right, unalive them. It says, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thine eyes. For the day shall come upon thee, that thy enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee around, and keep thee in on every side. Right, that trench, which is a military tactic, where it's basically palisades or sharp, pales, basically surrounding the city to make it difficult to come in, basically like almost like barbed wire almost. All right, and that's that's an act of war. That's what happens during war. You dig a trench again, and you got the barbed wire and so on and so forth. All right, this is a military tactic. So that's basically what's happening. It says, a trench about thee, and compass thee round about, and keep thee in on every side. And that's what they did. All right, the Romans did to us back in 70 AD. So that way, nothing could come in, nothing could come out. Basically, what they do in Iran when they talk about a military blockade, where they got one of the U.S. ships out there, pretty much blocking commercial ships from entering and exiting. Why? To put a strain on Iran's economy, which is that ain't gonna work anyways, because Iran has other means, by the way, of receiving shipments through the Caspian Sea by Russia, and then Iran is also attached to other regions by railroad tracks, so on and so forth. But not to get too much into that, but hey, going to show you some military tactic. This is what they do. So this is basically what's happening, all right, globally, with the Strait of Hormuz. The elites are controlling all this, the collapse of the global economy. And then over here, where the final show is going to go down in America, aka Babylon the Great, where they are destroying, right, the food supply, the supply chain of the food here in America, which is why I have that video queued up, and we're going to play some of it. It says, verse 44, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. And most of our people don't know the time of their visitation. Like this right here, attack on U.S. ranchers and food supply. You don't know, our people don't know the time that they in. They too busy worried about what's on social media, the entertainment, everything else, but not knowing that the food supply is being disrupted. Okay, so I'm gonna let this video speak, and then I'm gonna get some more precepts. We'll close this thing out.
President Trump is turning his attention to rising costs for voters today, announcing what he calls a deal to substantially lower the price of ground beef for working American families. The president said on social media that the U.S. will allow up to 300,000 metric tons of product for ground beef to be imported with no out-of-quota tariff. And he said that we have a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices. But all this presents something of a mystery here, guys. In his social media post, the president didn't say who he had concluded this deal with, and he did not specify who exactly had made a commitment to sell that below market beef. Now, CNBC has reached out to the White House with questions about this. We've gotten no response so far, and we are contacting the major beef importers to see if any of those companies will confirm that they are party to an agreement with the White House. We'll let you know if we get any more information, guys. But overall, this really symbolizes the president's concern going into those midterm elections that prices are.
Now look how we learned the thing with the whole Mepstein class. I say Mepstein, I'm speaking in code. All right, how people, they're making people food. All right, we know that within those documents, all right, people were being made as food. Okay, so here there's 300,000 whatever metric tons of beef, and then none of the major suppliers of beef or whatever, all right, they contacted, they didn't say, hey, yeah, that's us. So where's this beef coming from, man? All right, and who knows the contamination that's gonna be in that beef, man. Oh my goodness, man. And what they already make the approval for lab grown meat. All right, so bro, we got to get out of here, man. The Lord, Baba Gashah, man. Let me get that in Matthew's 24th chapter, bro. Baba Gashah, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Come back soon, man. He finna flood the market with 300 metric tons of ground beef and they don't know from where. You keep talking about keeping the prices down. This man is sick, man. This man is the devil. All right? It make me not even want to eat ground beef no more. But again, who's to say the ground beef we consuming now isn't coming from the same source that this 300 metric tons is man, please, man. Baba Gashai Yahweh Shai, Shalak Yahweh Shai, Shalak Yahweh Shai, Baba Gashai. St. Matthew's 24:20, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on a Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So this is the time we enter into. The worst time, most dreadful, terrible time in history that no one has ever seen before. That's how bad it's about to get. All right, so you can Google what was considered the worst time in human history. Now, the scripture's saying whatever, you Google and they come up with and show you or present some type of time in history. Well, the scriptures are saying this is going to be even worse than that, man. Matter of fact. All right. Matter of fact. What is considered We're going to do that experiment. What is considered the worst time in I'm going to say human history? Historians and scientists often cite 536 AD as the worst single year to be alive. A massive, mysterious volcanic eruption unleashed a thick ash cloud that plunged Europe, the Middle East, Asia, 18 months of darkness, triggering massive crop failures, starvation, and plague of Justinian. Our leading candidates for the worst eras in human history include the mid-20th century, 1914 and 1945. See World War I. See there, oh shit, World War I and World War II, of course. Hey, and this is all going into the, oh my God, bro. The Lord is finna do his thing, bro. And I say, oh my God, because just to witness the Lord and just understanding the judgment that he is about to bring, man. Oh my goodness. But we good though, but it's just I'm just watching the master at work. All right? Just watching the master at work, bro. The Most High, you finna see. So here it is, Revelation 9 and 12. One woe is past. So this is what John saw, those world wars. He recorded them. All right? The Lord showed him visions of these things, World War I, World War II. Okay? So here it is. World War I and World War II is considered global conflicts killer. It's like global conflicts killed over 100 million people combined through industrial warfare, genocide, and bombings. Then you had 1918, the Spanish flu, the devastating global pandemic that killed an estimated 50 million people right as World War I ended. So here it is. We going into a war, and you had a great pestilence, right, as it says, right as World War I ended, the Spanish flu. Did not Bill Gates say that the next one that's coming is going to get your attention? Is going to overshadow 2020? So here it is now. Okay, the Lord said a time like no other. So this next one is going to outdo 1918. All right, then, oh my goodness, the Great Depression, 1930s. Widespread economic ruin, mass unemployment, and desperate poverty across the globe. Are not analysts and experts saying that this next depression or collapse is going to be worse than 1930s? So when the scriptures, see, so we don't, that's why only thing, matter of fact, I got to get that verse now. Because people ain't taking the Lord serious, man. All right? The people not taking the words of the Most High serious, bro. This is serious, man. It's Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord, and I'm going to highlight this, and read, and none of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. All right? So the Bible doesn't need to be mated with nothing. Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. None of these shall fail, well, none of these prophecies shall fail. For thy mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. Okay? The spirit of the Lord has gathered these words, has said these things. He commanded it by the way of the prophets. That's why you got to seek the prophets, man. And what most majority of the people, the prophets have been out there throughout Babylon the Great, throughout every major city, globally as well. Okay? And what now the judgment is set in. So here it is, the Great Depression. Widespread economic ruin, mass unemployment. So all these scenarios, 3D scenarios, which considered some of the worst, the top worst times in history. All right. We are facing similar situations right now. A global conflict. All right. One war is past, and behold, there come two wars more hereafter. So, Second World War is past, which is considered one of the worst times in human history. Now we are entering to the third war with depression and warnings of more pestilences to come. All right. So the words of the Lord is serious, bro. And before we get this, continuing that video, because I got one more precept I'm going to bring out after that video, right? And then Here it is. Is Northwest Indiana still without power? Yes. Northwest Indiana are still without power this morning, August 24th. The situation has improved substantially, but it is not fully restored yet. So, dude, I type in this because what I'm hearing all the stuff, I'm seeing all the reports and videos. So, what I ask, what's the predominant ethnicity of those areas that are still without power? If you're asking about the areas that have been among the hardest hit by the current Northwest Indian outage, the demographics are considerably by city. Gary, predominantly black African American. The Census Bureau's current quick facts puts Gary at the 76% black and on 11% white. So then it tried to say, oh, white people, this, that area, Highland and Munster is predominantly white. So here it is right here. The important point is that Gary is the major predominantly black community among the places experiencing particularly prolonged outages, which is why you're seeing discussion about whether race or income played a role. But NIPSCO has said the outage pattern is driven by where the storm damaged infrastructure, not racial makeup or neighborhoods. And of course they're going to tell you that. That's what they're going to put out in the news, right? But read between the lines. Read between the lines, right? We know that we're behind enemy lines. We know what's happening, so they can put all this news out. Oh, it's not because, it's black. Come on, man. Look how niggas have been treated in America since they've been here. And still you finding all these injustice things happen. I believe that's the correct word if I'm saying it right. But dudes, so-called blacks, end up dying, and the whole Nolan Wild, whatever that guy's name, and all these incidents popping up, but it ain't because it's predominantly black community. Man, please, you keep trusting in this man, all right, and thinking he gonna do you some good, all right. We got the message. It's the same thing going back to what we read in Luke when the Lord said the enemy laid a trench. The Lord saying the same thing again, but through his spirit by the way of his prophets here today. And our people going to get caught up out there, man. Jeremiah 30:7, it says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So, Jake, you in trouble, man. You are in trouble, Jake. That's why you got to seek the Lord and cry out to the Lord, bro. Because the Lord gonna save the remnant, as I opened up with the elders of Great Millstone, the brothers making their bodies a living sacrifice in the body of believers that consist of you men, women, and children, Salakia. Let's get back into this.
Still too high for consumers, and he's signaling he wants to do something about it.
Well, folks, we finally got some details on that 300,000 tons of magic beef that Trump said he was going to come up with, and it is way worse than you thought it was. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee is as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. Yeah, it's a lie. It's a lie. There is no 300,000 tons of beef that Trump magically found somewhere that is going to import. No, that's not happening. This does nothing to deal with the supply and demand problem that is making beef so high. See, when this was announced, I was like, bullshit. Where are you? The only way to get additional beef is to slaughter additional cattle. No beef producing country, has excess cattle right now. They're all in the same boat we are. They're all short of cattle. U.S. herds are at historic lows. Now, did ranchers make...
U.S. herds are has historic lows, and I searched, and I saw a video on that. So let's search it up. U.S. herds hits historic lows. I think it's like since the 80s or something like that. Yeah, U.S. All right, Canadian cattle. U.S. cattle herd at a 75-year low, and that was before the fire. All right, so it is true. There is some information out there concerning it. The U.S. cattle inventory has shrunk to 86.2 million head, marking a 75-year low not seen since 1951. Exactly, 8-hour review. So there you go. You know, there's enough. You got it right there. So a famine is coming, man. A famine is coming. All right. So people still around here playing around. And no matter how much, you know, again, you got to seek the Lord. All right. You have to seek the Lord. The Lord say, my servant shall eat. All right. But so with that being said, then here it is. You have the power outages. So you can say, oh, well, I'm finna go stock up on some ground beef and some steaks and whatever, beef brisket, whatever, wherever it is you buy. Then what you gonna do when they cut the power out? Again. Man, bro. Let me bring this point home again. Man. Because it's, you know, for these doomsday preppers. For these doomsday preppers. All right? You take heed. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. What he said. What did he say, right? For the days shall come upon thee, that thy enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee. Listen to this. And compass thee around, and keep thee in on every side. And who you think got the spirit on them to do that? The Lord, man. To bring judgment unto you Israelites, man. So, I'm going to stock up on food, on meats. He going to cut the power out. Oh, I got a generator. Ain't no fuel shortages. They running through the reserves. So again, it's no way out of this but by calling on and believing Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, man, to keep you from the evil time.
Make money in the beginning of this when they were selling their herds off because beef prices were high? Yes. But it's been sustained for so long because of, well, idiotic policy that now they have been completely unable to rebuild their herds. That's global. There is no excess 300 tons of beef laying around to import. What Trump actually did was he stripped away the trade agreements that we had that were protecting our ranchers right at the time when they are most vulnerable because their input costs have gone astronomically high. Diesel, feed, pharmaceuticals, everything. Transportation is all historically high. They are not rolling. They are not the hole in the bucket. It's not. The corporations are making the most money on this, not the ranchers. And their protections just got stripped away at the worst possible time. This is going to have long-term ramifications for our beef prices. And the eliminating of these tariffs is going to do absolutely nothing to bring beef prices down other than a few pennies in the short term. In fact, it's going to make them worse over the long term. Yeah, there's no beef coming. The supply and demand problem still exists.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sean here. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but as a cattle farmer, cattle producer, or cattle rancher, whatever title you want to give us, I can't believe that President Trump and Secretary Rollins just kicked us in the teeth yesterday by saying that they're going to import foreign beef here into the United States. This plan that he's actually talking about, you can go and look for yourself. The Cattlemen Association at the national level, every state is coming out totally against it. And it's 100% because it's not going to have any real effect on prices of beef in the grocery store. The reality of it is the packers control everything. Until we address the 4 packers and how they control everything, we're doing absolutely nothing. Mr. President, your decision is going to run ranchers like myself and others. We don't make any difference. We big or small. You're going to run us out of business, and we will never, ever be able to rebuild the herd. Right now, as everyone knows, the herd is the smallest it's ever been. But with this action for the next 90 days, what it's doing is pushing down the price of beef that we sell to the sale barn that ultimately goes to your table. This action that the president is doing is not doing anything to help the American people. He thinks it is. I wish he would listen to the Cattlemen Association and others that understand agriculture, because the reality of it is right now, what this is happening to us is straight up bush. There's no other way to do it. So I just want to clearly put out there, I'm totally against it. I'm going to fight every day for our farmers, fight every day for our ranchers, because somebody got to get to DC that understand agriculture and going to stand with agriculture. Because right now, if we continue on this path, we're going to run agriculture and run cattlemen completely out of business.
And that's exactly what this devil has in plan. He's going to run agriculture, forget exactly what he said, but completely out of business. And that's the plans of the elites, man. This is the whole agenda. You know, people are like mind blown by the shit just happening that's taking place, but they already told you this. That they had Agenda 2020, Agenda 2030, all this shit where, you know, oh, reduce this, reduce that, take away this, take away that. Come on, man. I read the documents, man. Okay? I remember reading those documents, Agenda 20, there's all that shit, man, over a decade ago. I remember seeing it. Now here it is, these things are playing out, and you thought this man wasn't a devil. All right, let me get to the point on this one. I don't want to make this one here too long. All right? Isaiah 19:14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, because America is Egypt, pursuing a Revelation 11 and 8 chapter, all right, for reference, spiritual Egypt. Okay, again, it's no different from prior. We're in Egypt all over again. The Lord is getting ready to deliver his people, only this time the elect, though. It says to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So imagine someone drunk. I ain't talking about, oh, I had a shot or two. I'm talking about a dude just completely twisted. All right? Imagine him going to work. He not going to be able to get a job. He falling over, you know, throwing up, passing out, all the above. His motor skills are completely off. So that's how America, all right, that's the spirit that the Lord put on this place. And we seeing that now by the way of this war. It's completely sloppy. All right? Just like a drunk man is in control of the military. And that's, again, that's the perverse spirit that he put on this on the people in charge. All right, phone call came through. But it says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. All right?
Guys, thank you for all your support. Look forward to talking to you out there on the trail. But I couldn't even sleep last night. I just out here this morning checking on the cows. But I couldn't believe that the president would actually do this. So with that, I'll see you. I got it off my chest. I look forward to seeing you somewhere today and tomorrow and the future days out. But for the next 90 days, I think it's going to make it. It's going to run some of our cattle producers out of business.
Well, let's talk about it real quick. Right out of the gate this morning, we got an announcement from the administration about, you know, cattle, beef prices. They're going to import a bunch more box beef, ground beef, scrap cuts, that's what I call them, and hopefully bring down the price of ground beef in the store for y'all. We've seen a market crash for live cattle that people like myself grow and take to the processing plants or go down through the system, that's dropped 40 cents a pound already just from that plant closure. Now this morning, the markets are crashing. But will your price change? So far, we have not seen that.
And I'll leave this this video in the comment section. I'm pretty sure, bro. So if not, I'll leave it in the comment section. But that's it, man. Okay. But I'll read Jeremiah 30:7 again, because we have hope in the midst of this, though. Jeremiah 30:7 says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." And that's a big but, okay? Huge but. But he shall be, yeah, it's bad, but hey, we're going to be saved out of it. Why? Because the Lord's when Jeremiah wrote this, all right, the Savior had not yet come. That's why he prophesied. It's a day of trouble coming, but he shall be saved out of it. So when you go through that process, later on, Yahushua came. Right? He delivered, he saves. St. Matthew's 1:21. I believe it's 1:21, but say he shall save his people from his sins. So Jeremiah was a prophet. He prophesied, hey, it's a day of trouble coming, but you're going to be saved out of it. So the salvation is coming through Yahushua in this time by the way of the gospel. Okay, receiving the gospel, receiving the Holy Spirit, believing, having faith. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. Lord willing, this is edifying, giving all praise to Yahweh Shai, double honor to the Apostle, Great Millstone, peace, love, and blessings to the elect. Shalom.